Okay, so this is an abstraction layer called the x86 layer. There are other abstraction layers. In 6004, you will learn about, I believe, the alpha or the beta. Okay, and various other abstractions at this point. So 6002 kind of goes until here. 6002 takes you from the world of physics all the way to the world of interesting analog and digital systems. Okay, 004, the course on computation structures, will show you how to build computers, all the way from simple digital objects all the way to big systems. Following that, you learn about language abstractions, Java, C, and other languages. And that's in 6002. And there are a set of other courses that will cover that. Following this, you learn about software system abstractions. And software systems, you will learn about operating systems. Any example of an operating system abstraction that people know out there? What's that? Linux. What else? I'm just wondering how long I will have to go till I hear what I want to hear. Okay. So we have a bunch of software systems. These are nothing but abstractions. Linux simply implies a set of system calls that your program is supposed to adhere to. Windows is another set of system calls. That's it. And see how much money they made out of it. Okay? It's all about abstraction layers. Okay? It all starts from nature. All right? Build up abstraction upon abstraction upon abstraction upon abstraction. And somewhere out here are lots of dollars. Okay. So based on these abstractions, we can then build useful things for human beings. We can build, very useful things. Video games. Okay. So, okay, we can send space shuttles up and a whole bunch of other systems. But it's based on these abstraction layers. What's unique about the education at MIT? What's unique about 6002 and EECS? Is, to my knowledge, there are not many other places in the world where you will be educated, you will get an education in everything going all the way from nature to how to build very complicated analog and digital systems. Okay, we will show you layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, peel away the onion until you're down to raw nature. Okay, through Maxwell's equations, to 6002, 004, this is 033, okay, 6170, and so on. Okay, the whole EECS is about building abstraction layers one on top of the other. So that's the one path. There's the analog path. The analog path to take an amplifier and build an abstraction layer called the op-amp. See how similar they all look? The amplifier, the inverter in the digital world, and the operational amplifier in the analog world. Just slightly different ways of looking at the same devices. So to build analog systems, we build a operational amplifier. And then here we end up building a whole bunch of interesting analog system components. Okay, and these components might look like oscillators. They might look like filters. Okay, they'll look like power supplies, a whole bunch of very interesting abstract components, which pulled together can then give you your next set of systems, and these systems might be toasters, all right, or say, for example, other analog systems like various control systems for various power plants and so on and so forth, and ultimately, fun and dollars. Okay, so 6002 is about going from physics all the way to this point where we will build interesting analog systems and take you all the way up to a interesting digital system component from which 004 will take you all the way to building computer architectures. So that, in a nutshell, kind of gives you a feel for the space of EECS. Okay, this chart here is almost a vignette of what EECS at MIT is all about. And this is, this is the world according to Agarwal because he's teaching 002. Okay, so this is 6002, and the rest of EECS is somewhere out there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is throughout this course, I want you to think about which part in this vignette we are in. So right now, I'm going to start here and take you here. Okay, and as we get closer and closer, things get simpler and simpler and simpler, till the final abstractions are pedal, brake, steering wheel. I mean, that's the abstraction to play a game, right? There are 4 or 5 very simple interfaces, and that's all you need to know. And everybody in the world can play stuff. So remember, this stuff is complicated. This stuff is very, very simple. Okay, and the more we build abstractions and come to this side, things get simpler and simpler. So a large part of what I'll cover today is make the biggest simplification. The biggest simplification we will make is go from Maxwell's equation to some very, very simple algebraic rules. Okay, I did Maxwell's equations myself, and I tell you, they were very interesting stuff, but complicated. I can't imagine dealing interesting systems using Maxwell's equations. So let's take an example. Okay, so let's say I have a battery. Yes, switch to page 3 of your course notes. And let's say I connect that to a bulb. Okay, and this is a wire. And the battery supplies some voltage V. And I ask you a simple question. What is the current through the bulb? Okay, so here is something that I can build using objects. I can pick around from stores and so on. And I can connect them up in this way and ask the question, what is the current I? Now, if all you've done is learned about Maxwell's equations, you can roll up your sleeves and say, aha, the first step is to write down all of Maxwell's equations. And you can say, del cross E is minus del. And go on and on and on. Okay? And write all of Maxwell's equations and say, now, how do I get from there to here? Okay, it's you can do it. Okay, you can do it, but it's very complicated. Okay, so instead what we're going to do is take the easy way. So what I want to remind you is that this course is actually very easy. Okay, remember, we're going to be building abstraction upon abstraction to make your lives easier. If you think your lives are getting more complicated, then you're not using intuition enough. Okay, just remember the big I word. Okay, it's all about making things simple. Okay, so let me give you an analogy. So suppose you have an object, okay, and I apply a force to the object.